Welcome back, Ravens flock, to another unfortunate episode of Ravens Across the Pond. This is immediate reaction, literally 10 minutes after the game's finished. Ravens got beat at home to the Steelers. There's no smiles on any faces. The usual suspects are with me. Nathan, DT.
Hello.
How are we?
I think you knew that was a silly question before you asked it, mate. I mean, yeah, that's a final 2 minutes of American football that I'd never want to see again. Absolutely abysmal.
Yeah. Look, disclaimer, listeners. You know, we're not afraid of profanity on this podcast, but strap yourselves in for after the intro, because I've got a feeling this one could get tasty and a little bit spicy. Yeah, intro's finished, so unfortunately we're gonna have to do it. I was making notes. I was making notes throughout that game, and yeah, and I was trying to write an intro, because at times, I mean, not at many points during that game was there much positivity, but what the fuck have I just watched? What the fuck have we just watched? That was like watching Home Alone without a Kevin McAllister, where the sticky bandit just go in and just take whatever he wants. It was atrocious, fucking honestly awful. You know, it might be a little bit harsh on him. I'm going to single him out. Rashad Bateman couldn't catch malaria if he went on a fucking safari holiday to Kenya without any malaria medication. Just piss poor play calling, defense, like tackling ghosts. Watching the Ravens is like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube blindfolded. It's that fucking frustrating. Look, the Ravens, in my eyes now, the 2025 Ravens are going to be playing the same amount of playoff games as the 2025 Baltimore Orioles did. And that's just fucking zero. You look at the schedule now. After that was a must-win game. It's just piss poor. There was so many things there that, like, effort didn't, at times did see it, but it wasn't consistent. Leadership, like from the top down, John Harbaugh looked lost. Looked like a 4-year-old had lost his mum walking around the local shop. Whatever some of that play calling was from Todd Monken early on. And then in that third and fourth quarter, the play calling from the defense, like that Warren touchdown, like how
that was insane.
How it was like I'd say it was like watching little league football, but that's an insult to 6 and 7-year-olds.
That play call was actually like Home Alone, where Kevin McAllister is in it, but he goes on holiday with his family and just leaves the front door fucking open. That's what that was. Well, I mean, what a difference that final 2 minutes could have been, where you force the Steelers to punt, and it looks like we're getting a return all the way up to the 42, and then just idiotic holding on the return makes you go back 18 yards. And then the very first play on that drive, you then get another holding, and then you're back. You've gone back 28 yards before you've even had a chance to snap the ball again. And we didn't get back to the 42-yard line then for another 90 seconds. So you think we were in such a good spot with 2 minutes to go, and they completely implode on what would have been the most important drive of the season. And he just left himself no time. And then Lamar tried to hero ball it and then get sacked to just end the game and probably end the season. The sad thing is, I don't think it does in the season. Like, I
Mm.
think we're going to have to endure this plenty more times, and only because the North is just shit all round. Like, Steelers have still got a harder schedule than us. We'll probably scrape some wins somehow, and it may even get to that last game of the season where we said it right at the start of the year that could be the biggest game of Harvard's career. Like, that's the insane thing is it could come down to that, and somehow we could even get in the playoffs and have to go through this kind of shit in the playoffs, and that's quite scary and insane.
I,
Yeah,
I, I, I don't see it like Bengals, Pats, Green Bay coming up next, and then obviously week 18 at the Steelers. Just John Harbaugh may as well just bend over, pull his pants down, and go, "Have your way with me," because it is fucking. It, it's just awful. As Nathan said there about like the penalties holding, that's just basic basic discipline, leadership, accountability. Like that, I don't think that there's anybody there on that team, but you can turn around and be able to say to them, "Look, you hold me accountable for what I'm doing, and I'll hold you accountable." It's like they just don't want to. They just don't want to know. Ollie put a message in the group chat, obviously talking about the game, and he said, kind of something along. I think he was talking about like in the team and organisation. He said that there's a cancer in there somewhere. To which my reply was, "Well, if there is a fucking cancer in there, then it's stage 4. It's that bad." Like, and I'm just devoid of devoid of any confidence towards this Ravens team.
yeah. I mean, 6-11 is now looking like a distinct possibility, given that we just got absolutely spanked by the Bengals last week, and then we have to go play them again. The Patriots and Green Bay are two very good outfits, and I don't see, based on the last couple of performances, how we even get close to those games. And then, yeah, a Steelers game, which probably won't actually end up meaning anything. So if everyone's banged up and there's nothing to play for, are they even going to turn up to the game? There is a very distinct possibility we lose out now for the end of the season. I don't see anything that suggests we're going to win the next 4 games. And even if we do, it still might not be enough. So, yeah, I'll put the nail in the coffin, even if technically we're not eliminated yet. I just don't see how you come back from 2 crushing losses, 2 crushing divisional losses as well in back-to-back weeks, and just showing nothing. I mean, Zay Flowers had a good game. That was about it. But I think the best you can say for Lamar is probably the best he's looked since coming back. But he still
In
made
the
some very weird plays as well.
in the
Good
fourth
stuff from
quarter,
Phil.
I'd agree with that on Lamar. Like Tony Romo said it on comms. Like he was starting to look like back to his like kind of MVP best. But I mean, there was that interception earlier on in the game. I mean, I think that's 2 of them in recent weeks where he's tried them little like floating kind of flicks, and I just
Yeah, it wasn't even close to getting on target, was it? It was just abysmal.
There was
yeah
plenty of errant throws as well. Even in amongst his good stuff, there was plenty of errant throws that he would normally be nailing. Like the one towards the end to Henry, like missed through that, and that would have been Henry off to the races for a good 10, 20 yards. Like there was just loads of those that they were uncatchable. There were some ones that were catchable, like the Bateman we've already spoken about, but there was still plenty of throws that Lamar would normally have made, and you back him to make that just weren't where they should be.
yeah. I know he's already been mentioned. I thought Jay Flowers was superb. The new extension guy, the what is it, $39 million man.
Didn't make a catch, did he? I don't think.
I don't even think he had a reception, did he? Like,
No, I don't think he did.
did he have? Did he have a single target?
He did,
Was
and
he?
it was broken up. He was very
Yeah.
close. It was in the fourth
I
quarter as
thought.
well, I think.
In the end zone,
Yeah, I
yeah.
thought sticking with tight ends. I thought that likely it was superb. Obviously, unlucky. And I know DC, you were talking about some of the officials' decision making, and it could have gone either way. I thought the Adam Rodgers one, yeah, his knee was down. You could argue that did he or did he not have possession? The one day, another day that might go against you, go for you. Sorry. Um, the likely touchdown, as much as it pains me to say it, it's the right call. there's 3 stages to that, and he didn't do the third stage. Make a football move, or what's the actual word of the law? Be prepared to make a footballing move.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just constant disappointments, constant fucking disappointments. And I look at the three main players in this: John Harbaugh, Zach Orr, and Todd Monken. If you're gonna get rid of one of them, get rid of all fucking 3 of them. Like, burn it down, just burn it down, and just go through kind of a minor rebuild process over the next 2 years.
I mean, I had a message come from Brett Smith in the Across the Pond community. He asked a question for the pod, and the question was, "What do you think of Todd Monken's play calling?" As if he needed to line me up anymore. To be fair, he was referencing the fact that obviously you had Zay's huge play, and then obviously you have Henry running into a brick wall, and it was kind of, is it the players not executing, or is it too predictable? But honestly, I think it's in between a couple of good plays. There were a couple of good play calls, but overall, it was shocking. And the one thing that I'll always come back to is our short yardage gains. When we need to just move the chains, the amount of routes that stop short of the yard, like the yard again, like line of game, we need to finish those routes when you're going to catch it, and then you go, that's it, you got your first down. But we don't. We catch it with like 2 or 3 yards. We get tackled straight away. Like, even that in itself, which is a basic part of any football team's play calling, we don't execute on. We used to when it was going to Andrews, but since it's been going to Zay or whoever at short yardage, and that's the route that's being called, it's not there. It just doesn't happen. And that in itself is just ridiculous play calling. So, yeah, I think it's on top Monk. And I think we can rely on Zay and we can rely on Lamar to make some amazing plays. But for the most part, I think it's just bad play
That's
calling.
on Lamar as well. I mean, there was a 3rd and 5th today where he could have passed it off left. I think it was Andrews who was in line to make 8 or 9 yards. But instead, he threw this ridiculous 30-yard bomb to Hopkins. And it was like, it was never going to get complete. Like, he already had nearly both feet out of bounds before he even got his hands on it. And like, that kind of just decision making. So yeah, you can rag on Todd Monken, and deservedly so, but there were plays today that Lamar will look back on and think that he could have done a lot better with. And just execution and play calling, it can be both. It doesn't have to be one or the other. I think resets need to be had across the board, but I just wonder how it will happen.
Yeah, I mean, it's ironic
on that Monday. It'll happen straight after the end of that final Steelers game. On that Monday.
Talking of play calling, one thing I think we should discuss is that decision in, was it start the 4th, end of the 3rd, where obviously we kicked the field goal. We needed 2 touchdowns. Well, obviously had already missed the extra point. So there's a lot of conversation around, was it the right call to kick the field goal? Should we have gone for the touchdown on 4th down at that point, knowing that we'd need to then understand it? Interested to hear your thoughts on what you thought of the decision to go for the field goal then, rather than go for a touchdown on 4th.
Yeah, I thought I'd got the maths wrong when I saw the kicker come out, but yeah, down 11, you don't send the kicker out, no matter how much time's left. It doesn't matter. You're in the 4th quarter. You need 2 scores, and they both have to be touchdowns. So no, it does. You go for it. You see if you can get the touchdown. It changes the 4th quarter completely. You then play the rest of the quarter down 5. No field goals in that. You've got to then get to the touchdowns, and then that led to the 4th quarter, which we watched, and they had to go for the touchdown, so it changed the play calls they were doing in there, and ultimately they just ran out of time. So I think you just get the points on the board as quickly as you can, but you need to do it in a smart way, and the 3 points there was not the smart way of doing it.
See, I don't know, but so go ahead, Tom, before I jump in.
I was just going to say, I think the tone was set in them in the first 3-4 snaps, 3-4 plays. Like, I don't know. I mentioned the other week on the intro, the usual roller tape, and I said, like, are any of the coordinators watching tape? Like, how fucking long has TJ Watt been a fucking Pittsburgh Steeler? Like, How long has he been a Pittsburgh Steeler? How many games has he played against the Ravens? Everybody knows the answers to that, yeah. You know he's playing this week. Why the fuck has he got a free run for the first 4, 5, 6 plays of the game? Like, fuck me. It just sets the tone. Like, you talk about rivalries, like here in the UK, we call them derbies, like, and all supporters of soccer teams with, big derbies. And I always say, going into the Merseyside derby, Everton, Liverpool, like, the first tackle, make a fucking statement. Like, just go out and hurt someone. Like, do you know what I mean? Just go out and take a yellow card, like, hurt someone, like, set the tone. Especially when you're at home with the fans. I mean, I feel sorry for them fans today. Whoever the Ravens DJ was, who was playing the music in between breaks of play. At one point in the third quarter, he started playing James Brown. I feel good. Like, are you having a laugh, mate? Are you having a laugh? Jesus Christ, there is nothing to feel good. The only thing to feel good about in that stadium is the beer choice and food selection. It's just shocking. But yeah, I thought the tone was set early on. TJ Watt is going to go down as one of the greatest defensive players ever. Like, without a shadow of a doubt, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. Walks into the Hall of Fame, like, you know what I mean? Like, it was just lackluster at all times. But as I say, that set the tone for the day. As soon as I seen that, I was like, we're in for a long day here, lads. And I know quite a few people in the community with messaging and saying that, and it's like, it was just fucking dreadful, awful.
Speaking of the Merseyside derby, though, at least you support the right team in Liverpool. Otherwise, you'd have both your teams absolutely throwing away any reputation they have with a shite season.
Yeah, and to be fair, if Keaton Mitchell didn't get as many touches as he did today and as many reps, I wouldn't have been surprised if he did a Mo Salah after the game and kind of, said somebody doesn't want me in and someone's throwing me under the bus. But yeah, no, it's always great to see Copites crying. I hope you're listening, Jay.
Well, at least Keaton Mitchell did get the touches, and he's shown what he could do. And that part of my bet finally came off. We just needed the Ricard touchdown and a sack, but then Mitchell got injured on that play. So who knows what will happen next week? He didn't look too bad. He wasn't limping, but he went to the locker room and it was a knee injury, which is never good given his history.
Yeah. But I just think the Steelers. I mean, and there's loads of things that I've mentioned: leadership, accountability, discipline. I feel like all three of them have been missing throughout the season. But they were outcoached today. They were outplayed. And again, evidence early on. Adam Rodgers, multiple fractures in his left wrist. He's back to throwing relatively okay today. But straight away, bang, little 20-yard passes, DK Metcalf. I said on the pod on Thursday, is this the game where we see the Adam Rodgers DK Metcalf connection? And it's just fucking ridiculous. It just outcoached. There wasn't any answers for anything, and if you look at it again, that's another game. Pretty much every game this season where we've sat down and talked about it, it's gone, that could have been worse than what it was.
Yeah, and we said about Metcalf, that was obviously a huge chunk play, but the other thing that was battering us all game for at least the first 3 quarters was Gainwell. We knew going into that game, the threat that Gainwell is. We know what yardage he had going into the game in terms of for that team in the season. And we're just letting him have free reign. He was running yards, he was receiving screenplays, he was just destroying us, and no one seemed to want to even mark him. That's mark him is football, but we just didn't have anyone on him. We're just letting him have free reign to catch the ball and just run off 20 yards, 10 yards, any way he wanted for most of the game. It was ridiculous.
Just outcoached. Outthought mentally, as in like the thinking of the game. Outthought mentality-wise, outthought battle-wise, just... and again, an AFC North matchup. The AFC North for a very, very long time, possibly up until the last couple of years. Obviously, Joe Burrow's had his injury. It has been known as one of the toughest divisions in football to get out of. And you look at it now, and in the space of a few short years, it's one of the shittest divisions. Like the Browns are the Browns. The Steelers have struggled the last couple of years. Bengals have struggled with obviously injuries, Joe Burrow and that. But I know they got beat tonight, but you can see what they can do when Joe Burrow's fit and healthy. This Ravens team is just, I don't know. It's pitiful. Like it's just lackluster, pitiful. Like dross that you're watching week in, week out.
I mean, no serious team lets Aaron Rodgers rush for them on a touchdown. Like,
At that point, he had as many rushing touchdowns for the season as Lamar did. Obviously, Lamar got one in the game, and that made him slightly better than Aaron Rodgers at rushing touchdowns, but by literally one touchdown.
It looks like Aaron Rodgers when he runs looks like he's running in quicksand. But again, that's just like just outplayed, outthought. Like that play call, like I just it's
But all it takes is just someone to just run a little bit faster just to get towards him. Like Aaron Rodgers before the game when I was placing my bet was much longer odds than Ricard to score a touchdown. And obviously it's the first touchdown of the match. So if anyone out there had Aaron Rodgers to score the first touchdown, you're laughing now. You've made some serious cash. But it just comes back to our pressure on the quarterback. We just don't have it. Like Steelers got absolutely banged up during that game. At one point on 3rd and 5, I think it was, they lost their left tackle. They had new left tackle come in, completely unexperienced, and we couldn't get any pressure at all on the quarterback on that play and for the rest of the game still. It's just, did we even get a sack? I don't think we did. I think technically the Aaron Rodgers interception that wasn't an interception back down thing that didn't turn over was probably went down as a sack, maybe then.
The Okoye tip pass.
Yeah, so that's the only sack that we got
Patrick
in that game.
Mike Green got close, didn't he?
Yeah, but even then, somehow you allow Aaron Rodgers, the fucking 50-year-old man, to be more nimble than you and spin out from a sack. Mike Green is meant to be the absolute dog that we were buzzing about. Like, I just don't see it. I wish I did, but madness. This game was just all over the place.
So I mean, we're all firmly in the camp, aren't we? Of the top 3 need to go.
It's just all shown some promise, but I think obviously if we're going to get a new head coach in, then he's going to bring some other players in. Like there's jobs there for people to move to. I like Orr in the organisation. I don't want him to leave the organisation necessarily, but get a new head coach in. Let's get someone experienced in, and let's make sure we're using the contract years that we have of our proper players to realise what they can actually do.
yeah, and I think it will be a breath of fresh air. Harbaugh will probably go down as one of the best to ever do it, and especially for the Ravens. But just the last couple of years, he's just kind of looked a little lost at sea sometimes. And yeah, it never helps that historically successful teams like ours consistently lose coordinators when they're good, and we have to keep changing them. But this is a cycle where I don't think we have to worry about people coming after our coordinators. I think it's going to be the opposite, and let's get rid. And if you're going to clean house, let's just try something new and clean house all 3 times. I just wonder, when you've coached a team for so long, do you eventually run out of ideas, and the same stories and motivational speeches you can give just don't work anymore? And I think the Ravens could just do with a bit of fresh faces around there, just see what else is about. Right?
Yeah, leave while you've got some reputation intact. It's that kind of thing, It's like, not to necessarily go into it, but it's like Justin Tucker. There was talk, obviously he was the best there ever was. There was last season he wasn't great in terms of kicking, and everyone was sort of saying, "Oh, maybe he needs to leave before he goes seriously downhill and destroys his career." Turns out he did it another way. But it's that kind of thing, right? Cool, Hobbs, you had a bit of a bad season. Let's just call it there. Have a great handshake. What a legend you were. Off we go. Let's move on now. Let's help us transition in this phase. Really well done. Happy days. Rather than another season where it tanks again and everyone's like, "Oh, well, left under a massive cloud now."
I'm Justin Tucker. I'm fairly certain that Rashad Bateman must have been one of his masseuses because his hands are covered in fucking oil or something. His hands have got that much oil and lotion on them. The Americans want to invade it. Like, just he's really pissed me off because that play, just I watched it back and I seen the clip of it play, and I kept on playing it back and playing it back. And I think it was one of them. There's sometimes in soccer where the player thinks they've scored before they haven't. It was like he's in his head, he's caught that before he had, and he just switched off. And again, that's just accountability and discipline, and that all comes down to the coaching. Like, I'd be interested to see what Harbaugh has said after the game.
I've not looked yet.
Obviously, we haven't stuck around to listen to it.
Do you know
Again,
one thing about the likely touchdown that still doesn't make much sense to me is if that ball was fired into the corners of the end zone and he took his 2 steps and then went out of bounds before
that's it,
the ball came out of his hands, then it's done. Because you take your 2 touches and then you're out the side, but you've already crossed the plane. Why is it that when you're in the middle of the end zone that this footballing play thing suddenly matters? Because you get to the sidelines and then, but you get to the sidelines and you have these like toe taps and there's no third footballing movement because it's just going out of bounds. What's so special about staying in the middle of the pitch where this sudden third rule comes into play about making football moves and being ready to make football moves? Because if that was on the end zone, if it was on the corner of the end zone and he'd done the exact same thing, that would have been a touchdown.
Yeah. It's a silly rule. I mean, it's one of those
bizarre.
things to stop him just randomly grabbing it and then, I've got 2 feet down. But but he had a control. It wasn't even a case of it was 2 toe taps. It was 2 big steps. Like, it was full control, 2 feet in. Like, that's where the rule should be absolutely fine. Like, I get it if you're got the ball in your hands and you just land tiny little 2 toe taps in the middle of the end zone, and obviously then there's an opportunity for defender to make a play. But with that one, it was way, way past that point.
We're just not scripted to win it, are we, by Roger and the script writers at the NFL?
Well, no, we're scripted to get right to the end and go on a mad playoff run. I told you, it's still possible.
It's not happening. It's honestly, it's not happening. It's not happening. Like, if I can't see and it's not even like, it's weird because I always want to see the Ravens do well, but I'm at that point now where I'd rather us not make the playoffs, because if they make the playoffs, I get all that hope again to watch us get blown out in the fucking first game. Like,
well, if we don't and we absolutely tank from here on through ourselves being shit, not through purposeful tanking, then better draft pick and guarantee cleaner house at the top. So there's wins in that.
Every cloud has a silver lining, I suppose.
Yeah,
there's a big fucking cloud over us right now.
We're currently due to make the 13th pick in the draft. And
well,
if we lose the next 4, that could potentially be a top 10 pick.
We can get one of those players that Phil was talking about. That'd be nice, wouldn't it?
I mean, every cloud. And what would you rather have, a top 10 pick or getting absolutely blown out by like the Bills or someone around one of the playoffs?
Yeah, I was just thinking about various things I'd say to John Harbaugh or Todd Monken if I ever bumped into them in Baltimore next year.
Well, when Rich goes to the pub with his brother, you can, or dad or whoever it was you wanted to go to the pub with, you can get him to organise the meetup for you to say exactly what you mean to John Harbaugh.
It's what I think it's one of those things in sport where you're just like, it's a year too far, and because I mean, let's be honest, in other chats that we've been a part of down the years, there has been conversations about John Harbaugh like rumbling on, hasn't there, for the last few years, and then he got the extension, and I just like, as much as I despise him at this moment in time, I also don't want his legacy to be tainted. And what's going on now is going to taint it. It is going to taint it, because the last thing that you'll remember is this absolute shit show of a season where kind of everybody had us in the window again to, this is the chance, this is the season that the Ravens go and do it, and yeah, it's fucking.
Well, that's the thing. You got to think whether calling it now is the right thing for him because it just gives him the opportunity to, okay, yes, I had one bad season, but everyone will eventually remember all the good things. It's if we go for another season, then that's seriously tainted. If it's another season like this, we had the excuse at the start of the season of injuries and they started coming back, and it's look, things are on the up again. But these last two results and the two games that were previous to that, where we got a result but played absolutely shocking. Well, the writing's on the wall there.
Yeah. I'm genuinely like at a loss at what else to say. I wrote down like what did I write down here in my phone?
I'm proud of you for writing this shit down because I started writing notes and I realised I'm going to have to relive the game again on the pod, and I don't want to have to do it 3 times through writing notes as well. So fair play to you for actually noting shit down through that.
The first thing I wrote down was play calling, covered that off. Second thing was it's not necessarily in order, it's just where I fitted it in. Warren's touchdown and the third comes under play calling. Tyler Loop's continued kickoff issues, and he just obviously has missed.
Missed extra point.
Missed extra
Second of the season.
Lamar's interception. No leadership. Munkin and Harbour need going. Likely's touchdown. Okoye's tip pass results to a turnover. And then it's about 6-7 consecutive shite. Just one after each other.
Also, I think the other big point is
it's not enough shites in my opinion.
The very first quarter with the field goal that ended up turning into the touchdown because of the roughing, the roughing call, and
that was ridiculous.
I mean,
both in the A gap, like it's there is no call there. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but you'd love to have those 4 points back because that would change that fourth quarter, last 2-minute drill. If you're just trying to get the field goal rather than trying to score a touchdown, that 4-point swing. I mean, there were point swings all over the place when you think about that field goal turned to touchdown, the interception where they come down and get 3. There were just point swings all over the place, helped by a lot of flags. But don't let the refs fool you into thinking that, we're a good team and we were robbed. No, we were a bad team that got slightly screwed.
Yeah, it could have been like the Jets game where we were shite and somehow managed to win, and we're thinking, how the fuck did we manage that? But thankfully the refs let us actually end it how we deserved. So
on like the hunger and like the mentality to try and win, you could see what they were trying early on and get, especially in the first half. Trying to get Henry the ball loads, get him running, trying to tire out the defense. And then in the second half, you're thinking, especially in that fourth quarter, Henry starts getting the ball again here, and Pittsburgh are going to be tired, but they just didn't look like they were tired, and it's just hunger. Better coach team. Like I know that this isn't going to go down well with a lot of Ravens fans. Mike Tomlin is a better head coach than John Harbaugh.
Wouldn't disagree necessarily. I think he's I'd love to have Mike Tomlin. I've said it before. It's a hard thing to say. Shouldn't like him, but full respect to him. I think he is a great head coach. He is great at calling plays that we don't do.
Yeah, he's definitely, he makes his guys want it far more today than John Harbaugh did. And you think about what does John Harbaugh offer as a head coach, since he doesn't run the offense, run the defense. He is supposed to kind of be this all-encompassing morale and team leader, and you just wonder, has it all kind of fallen flat? And do you need to bring a coach in that can actually focus on one side, get like an offensive genius in or something to work with Lamar, and have just a really solid DC, and go away from this coaching hierarchy where the head coach just makes bad challenge calls and not do timeouts properly, but actually have a head coach that offers something to the game day experience that's a net positive.
Well, at least Harbour got to play. He got a challenge flag right today. It's some wins, but on the attitude side of things, we spoke about it last week about playing like a Raven and it not being a thing anymore. Ray Lewis comes out of the tunnel, the epitome of playing like a Raven. Couldn't fire us up at all. He was ready for it, but our team were fucking wet kindling. no chance.
Yeah, no, that was about as much use as a fart in a spacesuit, wasn't it? It just did absolutely nothing to anyone.
It's an embarrassment to his
Lamar,
legacy.
is there anything to read into Lamar Jackson losing his shit? I think it was at the second quarter, and
Oh,
when he
what, a
had,
Falele?
yeah, I mean, to be honest with you, when your O-line's, got more holes in it than a block of Swiss cheese, you're going to start losing your shit, and I'm surprised it took that long. But is there anything to read into that? Is this, a leader? Because I think it'd be fair to say Lamar is possibly one of the only leaders on that team at this moment in time. Like, he will be accountable. He will come out like he did the other week about the fumbles and the drops and say, like, I'm sick and tired of this shit. This needs to stop. I mean, the only good thing is, everything's about silver linings, isn't it? Tonight, this is the last that we're going to see of Daniel Falele after this season. So it's a fucking absolute bonus.
John Harbour will give him a lift. John Harbour leave the building, and he'll open the door for Falele in the passenger seat, and they'll go off in the sunset together. But I think it's good to see Lamar getting angry about that shit. That's what we want to see. He is obviously being impacted by that O line. It's not doing what he needs it to do, and he gets angry. That's great on the field. Does that translate off the field, and do we end up making things to change that? I don't know. We saw off the field he made the changes with the locker room and the ping pong tables and everything that we talked about before. This is the next thing now. There are actual issues with personnel that Lamar needs to be able to turn around and say, look, if you want me here, if you want me to take an extension that's going to be team friendly, then give me a team that I want to be fucking friendly for.
Mm.
That's it. I can't. Why would he? If he's, calling us out week on week and it's just being thrown back in his face and the same shit's happening, then, he's probably playing through an injury, as we know. He's putting his health at risk by doing this kind of shit. And it's just getting nothing in return for it.
If the Ravens get beat next week by the Bengals, do you sit Lamar?
I was going to say, I think that might be a call. Like, if we really think we're not going to do it, if we get battered and we think really that the division's going to be tough, Steelers get another win, whatever, then if he's generally not fit, then that's the decision we probably should make, because it risks a longer term injury that will affect us for years to come.
Or do you wait? Say you get beat by, they get beat by the Bengals and then they get beat by, who was it after the Bengals? The Pats. If you lose them two games, then I think it's safe to say that you sit them. Because
you're doing that though, either saying that you're keeping Harbaugh another year, or you're basically telling Harbaugh that what he thinks no longer matters because he's getting sacked. So if you do that, you're doing it pretty much under the guise of these guys aren't coming back next year. So I think if he does sit, that's probably quite telling about the direction we're going next season, because I think Harbaugh will fight till the bitter end. And if Lamar keeps starting, it might give you an idea of the way it's going. If they do sit him, I think you can see that probably they're on their way.
Can we sit Harbaugh? Give it to the janitor or the water boy instead, to just let him do it. Harbaugh's got an injury risk. We're going to sit him out, and actually we're going to elevate Ben Cleveland as head coach.
Oh, it's grim. It's grim. I was hoping that the Ravens would win, and after obviously some positive news earlier on this week for us all, as a community and a podcast. I was kind of looking forward to it, and hopefully, kind of gives us something to look forward to. That news will come out in the week. But for listeners and members of the community, it's, as far as I'm aware from speaking to the people involved, well, I know for definite on one of the things that we are going to be the first podcast to do this, and I'm fairly certain that we are going to be the first WhatsApp community to also have backing. So just make sure you like, subscribe. If you want to join the WhatsApp, the link is on Instagram. There's some huge news coming this week. Anything else before we wrap up?
No, we'll be in
No.
better spirits on Thursday. We'll come up with some fun segments because we've already given the Ravens season the kiss of death. So we can start going into that fun off-season mode and start thinking about next season. I'll come in with a
Yeah.
fresh attitude. We've had our time to be mopey, but Thursday will be better.
Well, I've probably had a baby by for Thursday, so maybe I'll be feeling in a more positive mood, depending on whether I'm allowed on the pod or not with the newborn. We'll see how sleep deprived I am as to how that translates into positivity. But in lieu of being allowed to go to the actual pub, I'll be enjoying some Ravens pub chat on the podcast at least.
Yeah, and obviously touching on that news that's coming, there will hopefully be a new segment on Thursday as well. So
That'd be exciting.
yeah, I mean, it's not good because we know what the segment is likely going to be, and the fact that not one of us can, I said the other week I could bet on a one horse race and still not fucking win. So
Sorry.
we'll have to wait and see. Oh, hopefully there's more than 3 of us as well on Thursday. So the lads that are listening and blaming internet issues, Richard. I was running on less than 1 megabyte a day the other day, and it still worked.
Richard's internet runs slower than Aaron Rodgers, and even he managed to fucking deliver. So
there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll be back on Thursday. And look, I'll apologise on behalf of the Ravens for this podcast for being so depressing. If you've been affected by anything you've heard in this podcast, there is help and support out there. I'll drop the Samaritans number down below on the Insta posts. It's good to talk. Nathan, DT, see you on Thursday, possibly. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. We've got a meeting tomorrow, so I will see you tomorrow. But for the listeners, we'll be back on Thursday/Friday with another episode.
We sure
Yeah.
will.
it's glad I have you boys to share in this when we do have these kind of days. So
It's a support group now.
Take it easy, gents. I'll see you on the next one.
Until next time.
see you later.